Frank Kelly Freas. August 27, 1922 – January 2, 2005, was an American science fiction and fantasy artist with a career spanning more than 50 years. He was known as the Dean of Science Fiction Artists, and he was the second artist inducted by the Science Fiction Hall of Fame. Early life, education, and personal life. Born in Hornell, New York, Freas, pronounced like Freas, was the son of two photographers, and was raised in Canada. He was educated at Lafayette High School in Buffalo, where he received training from longtime art teacher Elizabeth Weifenbach. He entered the United States Army Air Forces right out of high school. Crystal Beach, Ontario, Canada. He flew as cameraman for reconnaissance in the South Pacific, and painted bomber noses during World War II. He then worked for Curtiss Wright for a brief period, then went to study at the Art Institute of Pittsburgh and began to work in advertising. His first marriage was in 1948 to Nina Vaccaro. They divorced. He later married Pauline Polly Bussard in 1952. They had two children, Jackie and Jerry. Polly died of cancer in January 1987. In 1988 he married, and is survived by Dr. Laura Brodian. Career. The fantasy magazine Weird Tales published the first cover art by Freas on its November 1950 issue. The Piper, illustrating The Third Shadow, by H. Russell Wakefield. His second was a year later in the same magazine, followed by several Planet Stories or Weird Tales covers and interior illustrations for three Gnome Press books in 1952. With his illustrating career underway, he continued to devise unique and imaginative concepts for other fantasy and science fiction magazines of the period. In a field where airbrushing is common practice, paintings by Freas are notable for his use of bold brush strokes, and a study of his work reveals his experimentation with a wide variety of tools and techniques. Over the next 5 decades, he created covers for hundreds of books and magazines, and much more interior artwork, notably astounding science fiction both before and after its title changed to analog. Indeed, from 1953 to 2003, he started at Mad magazine in February 1957, and by July 1958 was the magazine's new cover artist. He painted most of its covers until October 1962, featuring the iconic character, Alfred E. Newman. He also created cover illustrations for Door, Signet, Ballantine Books, Avon, all 58 laser books, which are now collector's items, and over 90 covers for Ace Books alone. He was editor and artist for the first 10 Star Blaze books. He illustrated the cover of Jean Shepherd, Ian Ballantine, and Theodore Sturgeon's literary hoax, I, Libertine. Ballantine Books, 1956. That same year he drew cartoon illustrations for Bernard Shercliffe's The Wild Reader. Freas also painted insignia and posters for Skylab I, pin-up girls on bombers while in the United States Army Air Forces. Comic book covers. The covers of the GURPS World Books Lensman and Planet Krishna, and more than 500 saints' portraits for the Franciscans executed simultaneously with his portraits of Alfred E. Newman for Mad. He was very active in gaming and medical illustration. His cover of Queen's album News of the World, 1977, was a pastiche of his October 1953 cover illustration for Tom Godwin's The Gulf Between. 4. Astounding science fiction. Freas published several collections of his art, frequently gave presentations, and his work appeared in numerous exhibitions. He was among several of the inaugural recipients of the Hugo Award for Best Artist in 1955 and was recipient under different names of the next three conferred in 1956, 1958, and 1959, with 6 more Hugo Awards to his name, 1970 and 1972-76. He became the first person to receive 10 Hugo Awards. He was nominated 20 times. No other artist in science fiction has consistently matched his record. Freas was twice a guest of honor at Worldcon, at Chacon Ivy in 1982 and at TalkOn 3 in 2003. Although a fall suffered shortly before the latter convention precluded him from attending. He died in West Hills, California and is buried in Oakwood Memorial Park Cemetery in Chatsworth. Awards. Freas's achievements include the Doctor of Arts, Art Institute of Pittsburgh, December 2003. The Science Fiction Hall of Fame inducted him in 2006. The second artist after Chesley Bonestell. Hugo Awards. 11. Hugo Award for Best Artist 1955-56, 1958-59, 1970, 1972-76. 50-year retrospective Hugo, 2001, for 1950 work. Locus Awards. 4. 1972-75. Best Artist. Frank R. Paul Award, 1977. Inkpot Award, 1979. Edward D. Smith Memorial Award for Imaginative Fiction. The Skylark, 1981. Rover Award, 1981. Lensman Award, 1982. Phoenix Award, 1982. Los Angeles Science Fiction Society Service Award, 1983. Neographics Award, 1985. Daedalus Life Achievement Award, 1987. Art Teacher Emeritus Award, 1988. Best Professional Media, International Fantasy Expo, 1989. Chesley Awards. 3. 1990 with Laura Freas. Best 1989 Cover Illustration, 1994. Artistic Achievement, 2001. Artistic Achievement. Numerous Science Fiction Art Show Awards. National Association of Trade and Technical Schools National Hall of Fame, 1991. ANLAB. Analog Magazine. Reader Polls. Best Cover, 1992 and 2001. Bibliography. New Worlds of Fantasy, 1967. New Worlds of Fantasy No. 2. 1970. See also. Notes. Further reading. Freas. Frank Kelly. Frank Kelly Freas. The Art of Science Fiction. Norfolk, Virginia. Donning. 1977. Official website. kellyfreas.com. Kelly Freas tribute site. Frank Kelly Freas at Find a Grave. United States Social Security Death Index. Database. Family Search. https. FamilySearch.org. Arc. 61903/1. 1. VSC4Z6Y. Access July 31, 2015. Frank Kelly Freas. January 2, 2005. Citing U.S. Social Security Administration. Death Master File. Database. Alexandria, Virginia. National Technical Information Service. Ongoing. Biography and Criticism. Frank Kelly Freas obituary in The Guardian. Frank Kelly Freas biography. Science Fiction and Fantasy Hall of Fame. Bibliography and works. Works by Kelly Freas at Project Gutenberg. Works by or about Frank Kelly Freas at Internet Archive. Frank Kelly Freas at the Internet Speculative Fiction Database. Complete list of Freas' work for Mad Magazine. Time Crime. By H. Beam Piper. Illustrated by Freas. From Project Gutenberg. Kelly Freas. Pen and Paper RPG Database. Archived from the original on April 5, 2005.